this is Faye, and today I'm gonna be attempting to read a Jikook Fanfiction for you guys. It is a fanfiction that I've heard about a lot, and I know it is very sad. I have actually tried reading this fanfiction before, but I'm not very good with sad things, so I have stopped halfway through. But today I'm going to attempt to read it for you. I don't know if you have heard it before. It is Wonder by Work Couture. So we are going to try to read it, and before you see me reading this, please pay attention to all of the warnings, to all the tags of this fanfiction. They have things like apocalypse, end of the world, and a few other triggering things. So if you don't like it, or if that makes you uncomfortable, please don't watch it, okay? But, well, I'm gonna read it anyway, so let's start. I'm sorry if my pronunciation is not so good. I hope you can understand everything I say, okay? Let me go a little bit closer to the screen, to the microphone, so you can hear me properly. I'm sorry I don't have a microphone, so you have to hear it through my camera, but hopefully you can understand me. Okay, let's start. Chapter 1. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. But the thing is, we don't anymore. Wonder, that is. We haven't for a while, because science has figured out all that there is to figure it out. Mankind has come too far. Too far. Crossed too many points of no return, and kept on barreling through till the last bits and pieces of wonder were shattered. People don't wonder anymore. People don't dream. People just know. We know that there are 42, not 48, other civilizations in our galaxies. Douglas Adams must be so damn proud. And the Drake equation was always more of a guesstimate anyway. Nowhere near as accurate as science fiction. Then again, reality has always been stranger than the mind has the capacity to imagine. Maybe that's why it stopped imagining. It got tired of being outdone. Jimin, come on, you're gonna miss the game. Shut your face, I'm coming. Jimin takes the steps by bounds and leaps, jumping up to tap the wooden door frame, even as he zooms through it to crash onto the old, worn couch in front of a holographic projector. Jungkook is perched right next to it, chewing on his nails. Jimin sweats at him. Stop that! You're not my mom! Jimin quirks an eyebrow, fixing Jungkook with a look. Really? You wanna go there? Alright, I'll stop. Wait, it's starting. I swear to every single galaxy in the entire universe, if Russia takes another championship, I'm gonna stuff an entire shuttle up my ass. Jimin lets out a bark of laugh and elbows Jungkook in the side. You sure you'll be able to fit that shuttle in? Your head is already taking up too much space up there. Jungkook shoves Jimin's face through the hologram, and it looks like its opening shot goes right through his forehead. Zero-gravity football, soccer, some people used to call it. It's kind of outdated, but still a crowd favorite. Well, as much as a crowd as there is left. Most people have already left Earth, and they can't get signals beyond Jupiter, so there's literally no chance of the higher classes catching this game. Not that the higher classes still watch zero-gravity football. They'll probably come up with something classier and definitely more expensive by now. I used to want to be a football player, Jimin says, settling into the couch, reaching across Jungkook for a bag of fries. I thought you wanted to be a pilot. Jungkook doesn't even take his eyes off the game, but his fingers dig through the fry bag as he shoves a handful in his mouth. Jimin shrugs. They both hoot as Korea takes a shot. No, you wanted to be a pilot. No, you wanted to be a pilot. Jimin corrects. Jungkook pauses with another handful of fries halfway to his mouth, a tiny frown creasing his forehead. Oh, right, I did. Then he shoves the entire handful in his mouth and chews. Jimin is licking his finger clean of the salt, smacking his lips. Go! Jungkook punches the air, and Jimin crumples up the empty fry bag, lops it over the hologram straight into the garbage disposal. It hisses as the bag disintegrates and lets out a small puff of oxygen mist. In 22,010, there isn't much that humans haven't achieved. That's a lot of time, huh? Not much that we have not conquered or destroyed. Makes sense. No less frontier of science because that was ages ago, literally. But one thing hasn't changed. Things live and things die. And well, if Earth is a living body, then humans were the cancer that it couldn't find a cure for. And so, it's dying. But not before the universe put up a pretty good fight. How do we fight cancer? Well, radiation, of course. When the first wave of gamma rays hit the Eta Carinae, I really don't know any Latin, so I'm so sorry if I read this wrong. People weren't ready. Though they thought they were, billions died, millions more diagnosed with diseases that all culminated in fatalities. Plants withered, birds and animals littered the streets by hundreds and thousands. What few signs remain, not so much as cross off species from the list, but rip out entire pages and burn them. The world population was cut down by more than half, almost overnight. And the results were nothing short of devastating. In the years that followed, that half was once again halved by the aftershocks of the radiation, and then halved again by the fallout, reducing the world population to barely an eighth of what it used to be. Everyone thought it was finally time for humans to go, but cancer isn't that easily cured, and neither is humanity. We might call it resilience. The world might call it pestilence. Either way, the people who did survive came up with plans, answers, ways as we always have, and life carry on, under cloths made to deflect gamma rays. Mechanics and scientists even develop a way to turn that radiation into usable energy, and civilization thrived again, up above the world so high. And that was when we really started looking up towards the stars. That was when people started to realize that our time here really is coming to an end, and that if we don't get out, then we will die, and we will die right with it. Some people might call it a noble way to go, but most people want it out. Nobility goes screw itself in the backseat. So, the World Council came up with a plan, a desperate, crazy plan, but a plan nonetheless. Sent 42 ships off into space, towards the known civilizations in our galaxy, and hope against hope that some of them make it. Of course, there are safer civilizations, the ones that people have made contact with, weak as the radio signals were, strange as the message were, long as it took to decode, but contact was made. And given the significantly lower population of the world, it wouldn't be a far shot from splitting what remained of the world into 42 different ships and sending them off. And that's exactly what happened. Only it's more complicated than that. It's always more complicated than that. How you decide who gets to go first? Who gets to go to the safer civilizations? And who gets sent on a joyride towards the edge of our galaxy without knowing if the ship will ever reach the civilization we were never made contact with? Rewind 20,000 years, give or take a century or so, and a ship named Titanic sunk to the bottom of the ocean. That's ironic. And while history doesn't repeat, but it sure as hell does rhyme, the rich and influential go first, go to the safest. The lesser fortunate go last. So it has been for all humanity, and so it shall be till the end of the world's day, literally. All the beauties of social hierarchy. A ship goes out about half a year or so, because that's how long it takes to recharge the power plant with enough energy to launch a ship into the space, far enough for it to reach wherever it needs to go. The second to last ship left about 6 months ago. 3 points! We're ahead by 3 points! Jikook is shaking Jimin by the shoulders. They are both jumping up and down the sofa. It creaks and squeaks under the weight, but it holds. 5 more minutes and we'll end first quarter with a 3-point lead! Jimin shouts back. And sure enough, 5 minutes later, the pair of them are tumbling off the sofa, laughing and shouting. It's the first time in 2 whole centuries that anyone other than Russia has gotten a world championship. There's a party going on at Jackson's tonight. Why is it always Jackson? Jimin says as the game breaks for commercials. They're playing old reruns of ads for outdated things, teleporters, hovercrafts, etc. There's always a party at Jackson's. I know! Jungkook is rummaging through the kitchen for more snacks and comes up empty. We need to do some shopping. Jimin snorts. With what catch? Jikook rolls his eyes. Who needs that when we got the 5-finger discount? Jimin heaves a sigh. Jungkook pauses in his last sweep of the kitchen and eyes Jimin. Oh, come on. It's not like we haven't been doing this for years. Thought you would have gotten used by now. Jimin makes a non-committal noise and slumps back in the sofa. Call me old-fashioned, but I don't know. Stealing just doesn't sit right with me. Do we have any other choice? Jikook makes his way back onto the sofa and leans his arm on the back, peering down at Jimin. His eyes are lit with something a little bit dangerous, a little bit devilish. Suppose not. Jimin glances at him, and right then Jikook drops an apple on his face. Oh, shit! Hey! Where did you get an apple from? Jimin scrambles up, rubbing at his nose. The apple in his hands hard and smooth, and shiny. Guy down the street used to own an orchard. I've been taking care of a few things in there at night. You know, the trees there are close enough to pull that gumma tarp over. And you said you miss fruits and stuff, so yeah. He trails off at the end, scrunching his nose and scuffing his feet against the floor. How did you learn how to garden? Jimin asks, eyebrows in danger of disappearing into his hairline, even as it takes a large bite of the apple, and it almost groans in satisfaction. It's sweet and crunchy, and right now it's just about the last good thing left on this whole damn earth, except for Jungkook, of course. Jungkook waves a hand and jerks his head, motioning for Jimin to follow. They make their way through the long hallway of the abandoned house, down to the door leading to the basement. For the most part, they haven't been in there yet. It's only been a couple of weeks since they moved in, and stretching tarp over literally every inch of the roof is a tedious task, but completely necessary for ancient houses like this. The basement is damp and dark. Jungkook clicks on the pocket fuse, and the room lights up with a soft blue glow. Whoa, Jimin's eyes go wide. Right? Jimin says, grinding as he lifts the fuse to cast the light out. The basement is chock full of books, encased in plexiglass and sealed tight with boxes of transparent alloy. Books like the ones they've only seen in museums and in holographic projectors, back when they still snuck around in public schools and for lessons. Hundreds upon hundreds of books, their titles in stack letters, some of them recognizable, others in languages long lost to the ravages of time and the ruthless pace of change. This one here is on gardening. I found it the other night when you woke me up from snoring too loudly, Jungkook says, bending now to push open the lid of a plexiglass case, pulling out a tethered volume with a bright yellow and black strip cover. Gardening for Dummies. Dummies? Jimin reads, smirking, but Jungkook makes to jab in the side, and he lowers his eyes back to the book. The pages smell like history, proper history, and stories. So many stories. Right here, there's a chapter on apple trees, and then over here, there are these fruits called cherries before the first wave, you know? They look yummy. Sure do, Jikook says as he flips to another page, the pair of them settling down on the dust-covered basement floor, a pocket fuse between the two of them, huddled over the pages of a book that holds the story of people from thousands of years ago. They missed the entire football game and Jackson's party, but neither of them can remember to care anymore, like a diamond in the sky. Nighttime is the only time it's really safe to go outside without a thick layer of processed fabric clothing on. Nighttime usually finds Jikook and Jimin splayed out across the roof, staring up at the stars, and tonight it is no different. Which one do you think we'll go to? Jimin asks. That one, Jungkook says, pointing. That one doesn't look so great. What about that one? Jimin points to another one. What's wrong with the one I picked? Jungkook lets his hand fall. Jimin shrugs. Nothing, I just like that one better. His hand falls too, and their palms find each other, pressing, fingers lacing. What if we wanted to go to the one I picked? Then I'll come with you. Even if you like the other one better? Of course. Silence. Jungkook gives Jimin fingers a squeeze, turning around to face him. We can go to your star. Oh, I thought you liked the other one better. Jimin grins, turning his head to catch Jungkook's eyes. Nah, changed my mind. Jimin squeezes back. They close their eyes and doze to the sound of the wind through the air, thicker than it was before, more solid as it lies against their cheeks and their skin, pulling at their hair with their long, thin fingers, tugging right on the edges of their dreams. They fall asleep to the sound of each other's breathing, the last song the world will ever sing. Morning comes with the rare chirrup of bird song. Because humans aren't the only creatures who are resilient, and Darwinism still stands, gamma radiation or not. Things learn and die and adapt. Things grow and shift and become. Things seek out even more ways to survive, to live. Wake up, come on, the sun's gonna be up soon and we'll burn out here if we don't get inside. Jungkook is tugging on Jimin's arm. Jimin stirs with a huge yawn and blinks up at Jungkook, a soft smile on his face. Morning. His voice is thick and sticky. Morning, Jikook says, blandly as he gives Jimin's arm another tug, eyeing the horizon. It's brightening by the second, and they needed to get inside quick if neither of them wanted second-degree burn. The atmosphere has deteriorated so much over the past 20,000 years that the only reason oxygen is still plentiful enough is for the thin lattice of nanofibers braided and set over the entire world to keep oxygen atoms in. But they're not designed to keep the sun's harmful rays out. That's what the cloths and the tarps are for. And staying in the sun for too long, even far as it is now, could be deadly. Alright, I'm up. Jimin climbs up to his feet, gathering their quilt from beneath him, almost stumbling as Jungkook pulls him to the edge of the roof, hopping down the ladder towards the ground, jumping the last 2 rungs, and landing with a drop and a roll. Jimin follows after, still yawning, at a decidedly slow pace, and Jungkook is tapping his feet a mile a minute, holding the back door open for Jimin when he comes through. So chivalrous, Jimin says, grinning, voice still sleepy and soft. I try, Jungkook says, rolling his eyes. Jimin sets the quilt on the sofa and curls up again. Outside the sun is rising, the windows darkening over to keep the most harmful rays out. Jungkook shakes Jimin by the shoulders. Get up! I thought we were gonna go read today. Jimin mumbles something and swats at Jungkook's hands, who sighs and leans closer. One more time in a language I understand. You can read. I'm gonna sleep. Ugh. Jikook lets out an exasperated groan and pushes away from the sofa. Jimin barely registers the thump of his footsteps down the stairs to the basement, or the decidedly slower thumps as he comes back up. But he does feel the weight, the dip of the sofa under a decidedly heavier weight than he knows Jungkook is. Jimin peers down at Jikook through one half-open eyelid. Jikook has a stack of books on his lap, the gardening for dummies propped up against the top, nose buried in it. Jimin closes his eye. What does it say? I thought you wanted to sleep. Jungkook's voice is flat, but the hitch tells Jimin that he's gloating. He loves gloating. I do. Then why do you want to know what it says? Curious. How are you gonna read it if you're sleeping? Read it out loud. What? Jimin opens one eye again, a grin sleeping over his lips. Read it out loud. Then I will know what it says and not have to read it myself. And I like your voice. You have a nice voice. I hear you singing in the public showers all the time. I like his voice also. Jikook's voice is very nice. Jimin can't really tell if it is the morning light hitting Jikook's face at just the right angle or if he's just blushing too hard, but the effect is nice. Jungkook's cheeks are soft shade of morning pink, dipping in gold as he takes a deep breath and lowers his eyes to the page. Jimin had never known so many things about cherry blossoms, but he thinks that pretty as they may be, they will never be quite as pretty as Jungkook's blush in the morning. I've decided that cherry blossoms are my favorite flower, Jungkook says that night, their shoulders pressed. looking up at the night sky. You haven't even seen a real one before. Yeah, I know. But I saw them in that book, and they are really pretty. And maybe when we get to this new planet and make friends with the people there, we can convince them to plant some. Jikook, you know that they're extinct, right? Where are you gonna get the seeds? Jikook turns his head to give Jimin a look. You wanna tell me that we've been able to genetically engineer human beings, control their entire genome down to the last letter, and we won't be able to reproduce a cherry tree seed to plant whatever planet we're going to land on? Jimin huffs. Alright, point taken. And then he sighs, wistful and soft. Think it'll be nice there? Wherever we're going? Better be. I'm trying to start the first ever zero-grav team there. All you need is a ball and zero-grav field. That can literally be done anywhere in space. 'Cause no gravity in space, remember? Yeah, but how awesome would it be to have like alien versus human game? Jikook is grinning. Too wide. You're so weird. One second you're talking about planting cherry trees, the next you're talking about orchestrating zero-grav football games between two species. Jimin shakes his head and lets out a laugh. What can I say? I'm a man of many interests. Jimin scoffs, but it turns into another laugh as he's nodding. Of course you are. Hey! He lifts his head up from the kilt and reaches around him, pulling out a book, a thin book, and flipping open the cover, digging at a pocket fuse out to shine it on its pages. Which one is that? Jikook asks, turning onto his stomach, chin resting against Jimin's shoulder. The Little Prince. Aww. Jimin says, pointing at a picture of a tiny blonde-haired boy standing on a planet with flowers and tiny mountains. Is it good? Jikook asks, and Jimin flips the first page. He shrugs. Don't know yet. By the time they finish, the both of them feel like their hearts are going to pump right into their mouths as they go to sleep, promising each other to always love sunrises more than sunsets. And Jimin decides that this is his favorite book of all time. Notices fly through every single holographic device in the entire world. The last ship is leaving in 2 days. Oh, that is not a good... I don't have a good feeling about this. Bring only what you need and nothing else. Supplies will be provided in the ship and partition it after the head count has been completed. Please check to make sure you are on the registered name list to confirm your space upon the spacecraft. We've confirmed, right? Jimin asks, peering over the top of the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Jikook is sitting at the other end of the sofa, speeding through Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Huh? Oh, yeah, we have. We got the space assignments too. The same bunk bed, but I use our birth certificate names, Jikook says with sheepish grin. So we'll have to check in at different lines, but we'll meet up back inside. Good, Jimin says, eyes lowering back to the page. 2 days pass in a flurry of words, faster than the flip of a page. The check-in times are blocked off, mainly to keep the teleportation stations from floating. And too many people trying to access the same end point might cause glitches in the system, horrible accidents in the past. Jikook and Jimin are slotted for the last batch of people leaving. Oh no, I don't have a good feeling at all. Oh my god. Orphans, the Jikook says, when Jimin asks why they are always the last in line for everything. Right, Jimin says, slumping down next to him, watching the clock on the wall tick down mankind's last couple of hours on Earth. It's weirdly symbolic that the last people on Earth will be those at the bottom of social class, misfits and orphans. When the time finally comes, they decide to leave the books. They're heavy and not worth the weight when teleporting. Might screw up the algorithm if their masses are too off and they can't use an entire teleportation ticket for just books. They only have 2. I'll meet you inside, okay? Jikook says, waving as he bounds off towards the line of the J's. Yeah, Jimin heads in the other direction for the peace. This is not going well, guys. I'm afraid what happened. The lines are long, but they move at a decent pace. Still, it's been an hour and Jimin feels like they haven't moved much at all. Something crinkles beneath his foot and he takes another step as he looks down. It's a teleportation ticket. He bends down to pick it up, smoothing the thin material with his palm. Idea click in his head and he grins, turning to the old man behind it. Could you please save this spot for me? I forgot something back home I gotta run. Go to. Oh no! I gotta run to go to get it. No, Jimin, why are you doing that? This is a bad idea. Why are you doing it? The old man nods and smile, a toothless smile. Jimin bows low, then shoots off towards the nearest teleportation stand. Jikook finally makes it through the sea of people inside, pushing past them all till he reaches their bunk room. It's tiny, small as a closet, with just 2 beds and a small light attached to the head of each bed, along with the bare necessities needed for daily lives. There are 2 sets of immaculately folded clothes laid out on the sheets. Neither of them have been touched. Jikook bounces on his feet, looking up and down the curved hallway before he decides to change now and then go find Jimin. The mess hall is just that, a mess, and Jikook grabs 2 apples, shoving one in his pocket, popping the other one in his mouth before moving along the various tables and rotating trays, filling his arms with more food than he's had in ever. He lays them all out on the table, then scans the room. No Jimin to be found. His stomach tightens, but he brushes off. There are literally tens of thousands of people on this ship. Of course he's not going to find Jimin right off the bat. It'll be nice though. He'll be there when we go to sleep. He loves sleep too much to skip that up. Jikook thinks as he polishes off his apple and proceeds to stuff his face till he can't feel his stomach anymore. The spaceship rumbles to a start and people cheer as he finally lifts it up. Jikook takes up as much food as he can in his arms and goes back to his bunk, dumping all the food in the lower bed before climbing up the stepladder to peer into Jimin's bed. The clothes are still folded, the lines still pristine and wrinkle-free.